What we know is this, that the FBI under Joe Biden and under Barack Obama, that they exercised activity that they had no authority to exercise. And as Senator Haggerty mentioned, we know what they did in 2016 to the Trump transition team. And now we find out that after the Mar-a-Lago raid, after the indictment of President Trump, they surveil us, people who support President Trump, members who are all Republicans. But it shows you how out of control and rotten to the core and politicized the FBI had become, and how they had absolutely no problem at all whatsoever with political weaponization. We appreciate the information we've gotten today. We look forward to further investigation on this.
Senator, that was your words just a few days ago. Walk us through, what have you learned since then about this targeting of you personally by Jack Smith?
Yes, and Jack, it wasn't the first time. In 2016, when I vice-chaired President Trump's transition, we found out then that the transition team was being spied on, but the Biden DOJ would never give us any specifics about that. Now, what we did find out was that they spied on us after January 4th to January 7th of 2021. The way they did that, in May of 23, they sent a letter to our wireless carriers and demanded, they had a subpoena, and demanded our phone records. Everybody we talked to, where we were physically located, when we either made or received a call, and every call and every number that came into us or went out from our phone during that period of time. Now, we also are looking at September. It appears that there's the May date and there's also a September date. In addition to this, I have sent a letter to the D.C. bar regarding Jack Smith and his conduct, and calling for a review by the D.C. bar, filed a complaint with them. In addition, 5 of my colleagues joined me on a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi, requesting that DOJ begin an investigation into the conduct of Jack Smith. And of course, he should be disbarred. The groundwork we are laying are things that would call for his disbarment. And what we know is this is not only an invasion of privacy and an infringement of our free speech, but it is also an infringement of the speech and debate clause. For a wireless company to give your records over and this is not something, we're not criminals, we're not people that were a flight risk, any of that. What they did was to turn those records over, and it shows you how weaponized this CR-15 unit that Jack Smith used as he investigated President Trump, how they were so politicized. And thank goodness Kash Patel has fired everybody that was affiliated with that unit.
Well, I think that's absolutely fantastic that Kash Patel is finally fighting back and and Senator, when it really comes down to it, it's, these people who say, oh, there's President Trump is playing politics with the Justice Department. And I think it's actually the opposite. I think what AG Bondi, what the U.S. prosecutors, and by the way, these are grand juries that have come out, whether it be Bolton, whether it be Comey, whether it be Letitia James, these other cases, these are grand juries that have come out and filed the charges. But what we're talking about here is having one standard of justice for everyone. Isn't it just that simple?
It is indeed, and I am so pleased that that is one of the tenets that AG Bondi is working from every day, one standard of justice. And as she has come before us at Judiciary Committee, she continues to make that point. And Jack, here is the thing, rooting out these individuals that chose to weaponize the federal government against citizens. And bear in mind, if they are doing this to 8 sitting U.S. senators, think of what they're doing to other conservatives. Indeed, we know that of the 92 organizations that they were looking at, Turning Point was one of those organizations. The Republican State Attorneys General Association was another of the organizations they were looking at. And as we look at what happened to the 8 senators, the commonality there, and bear in mind, we still do not have the predicate of why. What we do know is the 8 of us each are Republican. We each have supported President Donald Trump, and we each had valid concerns about the 2020 elections. So that is the common thread for each of us that were placed under FBI surveillance.